Well, it's time for another Tarzan movie review. Thanks to my subscriber Aaron Aram for encouraging me to do more Tarzan films. And yeah, there are a lot of them. I was really interested to find out that other than actor Johnny Weissmuller and actor Buster Crabbe, here was yet another actor to play Tarzan, actor Bruce Bennett. And he really did a great job here in the role. So here is my review of The New Adventures of Tarzan from 1935. Yeah, The New Adventures from 1935. Well, the film opens up with Tarzan. He's hanging out in a tree, laughing at his monkey friends. Meanwhile, Ula Vale, played by actress Ula Holt, she's getting ready to head to Guatemala to look for the infamous lost green goddess. Some shifty characters, though, they learn of her mission and they head off as well. They don't want her to find this ancient secret for some reason. Well, Major Martling, played by actor Frank Baker, he's going along as well. And he sends for Tarzan, Lord Greystoke, to come with them. So a bunch of explorers head off to find Tarzan in Africa. And there is copious usage of footage of waterfalls, stock footage of animals, and so on. I mean, it really goes on, but, honestly, I'm okay with it because it looks great. But eventually, we do get to Tarzan. A lion appears and attacks one of the explorers, and Tarzan takes notice and swings into action. And he gets right to business, just beating up on this lion. Yeah! And when he beats the lion, he's got a completely different Tarzan call. What follows is more animal footage, including long stretches of an airplane flying over trees. They explain that Tarzan's friend, Darno, crashed somewhere in Guatemala, and Tarzan, in smooth English, says, "If Darno's alive, I'll find him." So Tarzan here is a lot more articulate, not the Ug-bak umgawa stuff. But I believe this is closer to what Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote the character to be. So it's kind of different to see that. So he agrees to go with them, and soon the explorers, Tarzan and Nekima, the chimp. So it's not Cheetah, the chimp, it's Nekima. And they're off on a boat to Guatemala. And they arrive there, and soon they are on their adventures. Although, before they get on the boat, Nekima does some silly antics like toying around with makeup, for the locals. And what follows is this long boat ride that really takes its time. I mean, we see lots of the locals waving, some houses. It's actually pretty tranquil, but by golly, we're 30 minutes into this film, and really all we've seen is Tarzan laughing at some chimps and wrestling with a lion. There's a lot of stock footage in this one. I mean, I enjoy it. I like the old dated material, but just be aware there's a lot of it. And, okay, eventually he does swim to shore. He outswims some hungry alligators, and on shore, he's able to stop some bad guys and tie them up using some of his cool animal impressions. Tarzan is quite the character here. Well, some of the explorers, they start fighting, and truth be told, I didn't really completely follow who was doing what amongst the bad guys. I don't think it really matters, I suppose, but, well, Ula draws a gun on the bad guy who just pushed another guy off a cliff and says, "Get up, you contemptible cad." I love that old movie dialogue. Great stuff. Well, there's a scuffle, and she ends up going off the cliff as well into raging waters below. Tarzan swings into action and saves her. And on shore, she gives a careful exposition about the details of her fiancé dying while looking for this elusive goddess. And the eloquent Tarzan asks more questions. Again, it's none of this "me Tarzan" stuff. Instead, it's, "I don't quite understand. What is your interest in this goddess?" I have to admit, I like this articulate Tarzan. It's not what I expect, but it really works pretty good here. So a little later on, the explorers meet with some natives who take them prisoner. Ula is tied up with ropes and lowered into a pit with some leopards. And she's screaming and screaming. The rope snaps, she falls. But in the nick of time, there's Tarzan to jump in and wrestle with that group of leopards. And I have to admit, when he swings one of the stuffed leopards up and out of the pit, it is a little silly looking, but it's still entertaining. So one of the characters is the bad guy, Raglan. He's played by actor Ashton Deerholt. And I think he's sort of the main bad guy of the film. And he manages to find his way to this hidden temple of the Green Goddess. Once inside, he fends off some vampire bats And the other explorers with Tarzan, they eventually show up at this temple as well. And there's a big battle with some of the natives there. And, I'll admit the sets really looked great during the sequence. The old crumbly temple, it looks good. While Tarzan and his crew, they are overpowered. They're taken prisoner. And while captive, they finally discover the Green Goddess. It's kind of this large mural on a column. The priestess arrives, gives a command, and they start tossing some of the captives into a pit of alligators. And this is starting to take on an Indiana Jones vibe all of a sudden. And the priestess has this knife drawn. She's about to sacrifice Tarzan, and will he and his friends survive and escape? Well, you're going to have to check out the exciting ending for yourself to see. But, this one was a lot of fun. Some closing thoughts. Bruce Bennett really did a great job here as this more articulate Tarzan. Now note, when I was researching this film, there was initially some confusion for me, as some reviews will mention actor Herman Brix and others Bruce Bennett. Well, apparently he was born Herman Brix, and some point after the war he changed his name. So you may see reviews saying both names or movie posters with both. It's a little confusing. He's a good actor, though, and I really enjoyed him in his brief role in Treasure of Sierra Madre with Humphrey Bogart. He was another character out looking for gold in the hills. And he wasn't in the film very long, but I thought he was good there. And he really is been in a bunch of films I really need to check out from the 1940s and 50s, including Sahara with Humphrey Bogart, and Nora Prentice with Ann Sheridan. He was in Dark Passage with Bogart and Lauren Bacall. The Man I Love with Ida Lupino. And of course the aforementioned Treasure of Sierra Madre, which is a great film with Bogart and Walter Houston. I should really watch that one again. I'm adding all of these to my list. He was a good actor. I'd like to see more of his films. What I found interesting with Bruce Bennett also in a way is, and this could just be me talking, is that he resembled Christopher Lambert, who also played Tarzan in the 1980s in the movie The Legend of Greystoke. Now that's one of the films I remember from the 80s. It's one of the first VHS tapes we owned. And I think I watched that film all the time. It's a great film, but a little dark, Lambert, he plays Tarzan, and he loses his gorilla dad, and he's crying out, "He was my father," in the heavy French accent. I know, I just enjoyed that film a lot. I thought it was great, but something about Bruce Bennett, it does, in a way, resemble Christopher Lambert. Maybe it's just me. Tarzan's chimpanzee was called Nakima, not Cheetah. And again, that was more accurate to the Edgar Rice Burroughs books, as was this articulate Tarzan, who was able to construct complete sentences. And again, I think I prefer this version of Tarzan, to be honest. So that's The New Adventures of Tarzan from 1935, featuring Bruce Bennett as Tarzan. And it was a really good film, and it's worth checking out.